Before we tear into tonight's chaos, quick shout out to everyone who's been blasting the new Data Dissonance album, Truth Bombs. It's 23 minutes of pure, unfiltered, politically charged fire. Hard bars, heavy beats, and zero apologies. The expanded edition's already in the works with 3 bonus tracks that didn't make the original cut, so stay tuned for that drop soon. If you haven't streamed it yet, it's live now on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. So hit play, turn it up, and let's keep dropping truth bombs right here on Data Dissonance.
Warning: this show contains truth, sarcasm, and opinions that might offend the fragile, the fake, and the fact-free. If you're easily triggered, still wearing a mask alone in your car, or think the government actually cares about you, this ain't your safe space. We don't do censorship, we don't do narrative-approved talking points, and we definitely don't do woke bedtime stories. So grab your coffee, buckle up, and get ready for a dose of red-blooded reality, because the mic is hot and the bullshit meter is maxed out.
Tonight on Data Dissonance, Trump closes in on a massive trade deal with China. But is Beijing playing chess while the Beltway plays checkers? The federal government's still on pause while DC plays its favorite sport, political hostage-taking. And taxpayers are the collateral damage. And halfway across the planet, 2 U.S. Navy aircraft go down in the South China Sea during Trump's Asia tour. Is it a tragic accident or a warning shot from the Dragon? 3 stories, 1 mission. Cut through the noise, call out the narrative, and remind America that sanity still has a podcast. This is Data Dissonance. All right, folks, time to bring in the crew, the A-team of opinions, conspiracies, and caffeine. First up, Brian, the man who wakes up every morning ready to MAGA harder than the day before. If patriotism were pre-workout, this guy would be bench-pressing CNN reporters by noon. Then we've got Rachel, the voice of balance, reason, and reality. Basically the adult in this digital daycare, who keeps us from turning the show into a full-blown bar fight. At least until segment 2. Next is Daniel, our resident tinfoil tactician. If there's a shadow government meeting in a basement somewhere, he's already downloaded the PDF and linked it to a UFO sighting. And rounding it out, Skylar, our eco-warrior progressive who keeps us honest, reminds us that the planet matters, and somehow still shows up every week even though we roast her Prius harder than Biden's approval rating. Together they form the most unpredictable, unapologetic, and uncensored roundtable in podcasting. This is Data Dissonance, and tonight, we're diving straight into the chaos. All right, folks, let's light the fuse. The headlines today: Trump and Xi moving toward a historic trade agreement, which in DC language means someone's about to get played, and it better not be us. Trump says it's the fairest deal in modern history. Beijing says it's mutually beneficial, and I say if both sides are smiling, one of them's lying. So grab your coffee, maybe the dark roast. This one's about to get bitter. Brian, kick us off before CNN tries to fact-check your pulse.
You already know they will, Artie. Look, Trump's doing what every globalist bureaucrat swore couldn't be done. He's making China blink. For years, these Ivy League idiots told us, you can't stand up to Beijing. Really? The same country that needs us to buy their $2 phone chargers and counterfeit Nikes? Trump's out there playing hardball while the swamp's still arguing about pronouns. He's proving America doesn't need to bow to some communist Walmart empire. Finally, a president who negotiates like a New Yorker instead of a Brussels bureaucrat. America first, and China can finish second, like their knockoff iPhones.
Careful, Brian. TikTok's already writing your obituary. The CCP's algorithm just flagged you as too patriotic. But I get it, man. You're not wrong. Every time Trump goes toe-to-toe with a foreign leader, liberals act like he's about to start World War III. Then 3 months later, the stock market hits a record high. Rachel, jump in here before Brian starts measuring tariffs in decibels.
Fair. But let's stay grounded. Every so-called historic trade deal ends up with more holes than Daniel's conspiracy board. China's mastered the art of agreeing to everything and complying with nothing. They'll sign, smile for the cameras, and the next day your data's on a TikTok server in Shanghai. Unless enforcement is airtight and penalties are automatic, This is just theater for both economies. I want it to work, but history says China treats trade agreements like Biden treats classified documents, disposable and easily misplaced.
Savage. Somewhere, Hunter just dropped his crack pipe in shock. But you're right. China's got more conditional compliance than a California curfew. Daniel, I know you've got the red yarn ready, so go ahead. How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Oh, it's deep, brother. Everyone's calling this Phase 2 of trade diplomacy. I'm calling it Phase 1 of the new Cold War. Look at the map. They're buying up farmland in Kansas, cobalt mines in Africa, ports in Greece. It's like Monopoly, but with surveillance cameras and spyware. Every handshake between Trump and Xi is really about who controls the next century's resources, data, energy, minerals, even water rights. And don't think for a second big tech isn't watching. Half their servers are made with parts Beijing subsidized. We're not in a trade deal. We're in a resource war dressed in a business suit.
Daniel, buddy, I swear your Christmas tree probably has FBI wiretaps in the ornaments. But that's why I love having you here. You make Alex Jones sound like NPR. Skylar, you've been waiting patiently, sipping your oat milk latte. Hit us with the progressive side before Brian throws a flag on your carbon footprint.
You're impossible. Artie, look, trade isn't a cage match. It's an ecosystem. The US and China rely on each other. We buy their goods, they buy our tech and food. You can't just America first your way out of interdependence. If you push too hard, you crash the supply chain. That means higher prices for everything. Clothes, cars, even your coffee. Global cooperation isn't weakness, it's reality. The world's too connected for these 1980s trade wars. If we don't evolve, we end up isolating ourselves while the rest of the planet moves on.
Skylar, I appreciate the kumbaya sentiment, but every time I hear global cooperation, I check my wallet. The last time we trusted that idea, half our manufacturing moved to Shenzhen, and the other half started taking diversity training. You call it interdependence. I call it addiction. And this deal, if Trump pulls it off, could be the first detox America's had in decades. And let's be honest, folks. The only supply chain the media worries about is the one for oat milk and iPhone chargers. All right, before Daniel starts printing buy gold flyers and Rachel fact-checks the entire Chinese economy, let's land this plane. If Trump locks down a fair deal and enforces it with teeth, we'll call it the deal of the decade. If not, it's just another photo op where the dragon smirks and the swamp sighs. Either way, grab a refill, because next we're heading straight to DC, where the government's proving once again that if incompetence were a budget item, we'd never have a deficit. All right, welcome back. We're diving into Washington's favorite circus act, the government shutdown. Because apparently, fiscal responsibility is now considered a hate crime on Capitol Hill. The lights are off, the paychecks are paused, and somewhere in DC, a federal worker just realized they're going to have to survive without scrolling Instagram on taxpayer Wi-Fi. Republicans are demanding spending cuts. Democrats are demanding climate reparations for houseplants. And somewhere in between, your tax dollars are burning like a California wildfire. Brian, my guy, let's start with you. The GOP says this shutdown is about stopping reckless spending. Are they holding the line or holding the bag?
Artie, they're doing exactly what we elected them to do. Finally telling the freeloaders the ATM's empty. For years, Congress treated our national debt like a buffet line. Take more, ask later, leave the check for the grandkids. Trump said no more, and now the swamp's having withdrawals. You've got Democrats crying that we're defunding essential programs. Yeah, like $3 million to study hamster gender roles in Peru. Shut it down, I say. The government's been a bad roommate for too long. Eats your food, raises your rent, and still lectures you about equity. MAGA's about accountability. And if that means the feds miss a paycheck, maybe they'll finally learn how the rest of America lives.
Somewhere an NPR intern just fainted into their oat milk. But Brian, you're not wrong. Washington's allergic to living within its means. Rachel, jump in before Brian starts budgeting with duct tape and bootstraps. You're our resident voice of reason here. What's the real fallout?
The real fallout, Artie, is ordinary people, not bureaucrats, who get caught in the crossfire. Border agents, park rangers, TSA officers. These aren't the elites. They're working Americans who just want to pay their bills. When the government shuts down, they're the ones missing paychecks while Congress still collects theirs. Both sides are playing political chicken while families wonder if their mortgage payments will clear. Fiscal reform is needed. I agree there, but you can't govern by hostage situation. The shutdowns become performative patriotism. Everyone waves the flag, but nobody pays the price except the people who actually make the system work.
Good point. But I gotta say, if TSA takes a break, I might finally make it through security without getting frisked like a cartel mule. Daniel, I know you've been watching the patterns. Every shutdown has a deeper game behind it. What's this one really about?
Glad you asked. You remember when they said, temporary? That's a cover story. This shutdown is about control. The administration's quietly redirecting resources through emergency executive measures. Stuff that doesn't even need congressional approval. You stall the government, you consolidate power, you manufacture chaos, you justify restructuring. It's not about budgets, it's about building a system that runs whether the people vote or not. The media calls it dysfunction. I call it conditioning. The swamp wants to teach Americans to live without government transparency because once you're used to silence, you stop asking questions.
And here I thought I was paranoid. Daniel, I swear if you ever disappear, I'm checking under the Capitol for tunnels. Skylar, I can see you twitching. Go ahead and tell us how this is all somehow capitalism's fault before Daniel claims FEMA's running Walmart.
Oh, come on, Artie. You know this isn't about capitalism, it's about priorities. We can't keep slashing social programs, education, and healthcare every time Congress wants to posture for cable news clips. This shutdown routine is like the political version of a toddler tantrum. If I can't get my way, I'm turning off the government. It's pathetic. America's the richest country in the world, but we act broke because billionaires don't pay their share. You fix that, and we don't have to choose between paying border patrol or feeding kids. We don't have a spending problem. We have a moral one.
Skylar, that's a solid speech. If you're running for Miss UN Global Compassion. But here's the thing. You can't spend money you don't have, and printing it just makes milk $9 a gallon. The government doesn't have a revenue problem. It has a discipline problem. And every time they threaten a shutdown, they blame the taxpayers for asking where their money went. Let's call it what it is. A budget hostage crisis staged by people who couldn't balance a checkbook if their Netflix subscription depended on it. The swamp doesn't need more funding. It needs a detox. All right, before Brian starts chanting defund everything and Rachel starts Venmoing furloughed workers, let's refill those mugs and take a quick breather. All right, before we jump into segment 3 and the chaos over in the South China Sea, quick shout out to everyone keeping this show caffeinated, clothed, and uncensored. Our Data and Dissonance merch family. You want freedom in a mug? Grab our Rock Creek medium roast. Smooth, bold, and guaranteed to wake you up faster than a CNN meltdown. Prefer a darker mood? The Bitterroot French roast. Rich, strong, and unapologetically American. Or go light with the High Lakes blend, citrus, almonds, and optimism, which you'll definitely need after hearing what Congress is doing to your paycheck. And hey, if you want to wear your opinions instead of just tweeting them, we've got you covered. Gen X tees, Make Orwell Fiction Again stickers. Triggered? Good. Hoodies, and a brand new line of patriotic trucker hats that even Brian says are MAGA Fire certified. So head over to dataanddissonance.printify.me. That's dataanddissonance.printify.me. Every purchase fuels the fight, keeps the lights on, and helps us keep roasting the narrative one sip at a time. All right, let's get back to business. Coming up next, when diplomacy meets disaster, Trump's Asia tour just took a hard turn, and the Navy's paying the price. All right, folks, this one's wild. While the president was wrapping up his Asia tour, 2 U.S. Navy aircraft went down in the South China Sea within an hour of each other. The Pentagon's calling it a tragic accident. Beijing's calling it routine airspace conflict. And I'm calling it exactly what it sounds like. A warning shot wrapped in polite diplomatic language. Because when 2 planes hit the water right as Trump lands in Japan, that's not coincidence. That's choreography. Brian, I know you've already got the tinfoil on deck. What's your take, brother?
Oh, I've got plenty, Artie. First off, I don't buy the accident line for one damn second. You don't lose 2 aircraft from the most powerful navy on Earth during a presidential tour unless someone's sending a message. China's been testing boundaries ever since Trump re-entered the Oval Office. They saw weakness for 4 years under Biden, balloons floating over Montana, spy bases in Cuba, and they got cocky. But this time, they messed with the wrong administration. You don't play chicken with Trump. He'll turn that aircraft carrier around and park it in your living room. The man's not afraid of a little turbulence. Hell, turbulence follows him everywhere.
Ain't that the truth? Trump could land in Tokyo during a typhoon and somehow turn it into a campaign rally. Rachel, let's swing to you. You've been covering foreign policy longer than some of these TikTok journalists have been alive. What's your read here?
Honestly, Artie, this is the high-stakes version of a staring contest. Both sides know they can't afford open conflict. The global markets would implode, but they also can't look weak. China wants to show it's still top dog in the Pacific, and Trump wants to prove America's back in charge. These crashes? They're tragic, but they'll become political currency. Beijing will feign outrage, Washington will promise investigations, and somewhere in the background, diplomats will quietly renegotiate terms. I don't think Trump's looking for a fight, but he's reminding the world that he's not blinking either.
Right, because the one thing scarier than a war is a president who doesn't bluff. Daniel, I can already see the gears turning. Tell us what's really going on here before Rachel throws a civics lesson at you.
Gladly. Everyone keeps talking about airspace confusion. That's cute. You know what else it could be? Electronic interference. China's been flexing its new EMP and GPS spoofing tech for months. They can scramble flight paths without firing a shot. Now imagine this. Trump's Asia visit wasn't just diplomacy, it was recon, testing Beijing's response time, radar patterns, and electronic warfare readiness. Those accidents could have been probes gone wrong or even friendly fire incidents caused by foreign signal disruption. The whole thing's got Black Ops fingerprints all over it. And the media, too busy asking what Trump had for lunch.
Somewhere Jake Tapper just fainted into his soy latte. Daniel, if you ever run for office, your campaign slogan's gonna be "Trust no one, especially me." But I'll admit, that's a hell of a theory. Skylar, I see you rolling your eyes. Go ahead, rain on the patriotic parade.
You guys make it sound like Top Gun, Conspiracy Edition. I'm not denying there's tension, but sometimes an accident really is just that, an accident. Military operations are dangerous, especially in contested waters. The bigger issue is that we keep flexing instead of communicating. We can't just keep sending fleets halfway around the world and acting shocked when something goes wrong. Power projection doesn't equal peace. It invites escalation. Maybe it's time America learns diplomacy doesn't always have to come with a destroyer escort.
Skylar, I respect the idealism. But if history's taught us anything, it's that peace without strength is just a polite invitation to get steamrolled. China's not planting olive trees out there. They're building runways on coral reefs and parking bombers under fishing stations. Trump's Asia tour was a reminder that we don't play defense when freedom's on the line. Now, whether this incident was a warning, a test, or a straight-up accident, one thing's clear. The Pacific's heating up faster than a CNN meltdown on debate night. And while the left's busy writing think pieces about restraint, Trump's over there reminding the world what American deterrence actually looks like. All right, we've hit turbulence, spilled the coffee, and called out the hypocrisy. After the break, we're landing this bird with some final thoughts, full panel wrap-up, and my closing monologue. Because if there's one thing Washington hates more than accountability, it's when we keep receipts. All right, folks, we've covered a lot tonight. Trade wars, shutdown scars, and an Asia tour that turned into a geopolitical soap opera. It's one of those Mondays where the headlines feel like a bad sequel written by the same people who manage California's budget. But that's why we're here, to filter out the noise, roast the nonsense, and find the truth buried under the spin. So let's do what we always do. Final thoughts from the crew before I wrap this thing up. Brian, let's start with you, and try to keep it under 10 MAGA slogans this time.
No promises, brother. Here's the thing. What we're watching right now is America remembering who the hell it is. The media wants you scared, the left wants you divided, and the elites want you distracted. But every time Trump takes a stand, whether it's China, the border, or the budget, he's reminding the world that the United States doesn't take orders, it gives them. People call that nationalism. I call it pride. We've got a second chance to rebuild this country from the ground up. Real manufacturing, real leadership, and real accountability. That's what the MAGA movement's about. Not anger, not hate, ownership. Taking back what's ours. One policy, one paycheck, and one truth bomb at a time.
Could have sworn you'd sneak in a Trump 2028 at the end there, Brian. All right, Rachel, you're up. Give us the voice of reason before Daniel starts passing out maps to the Illuminati's summer retreat.
I'll try, Artie. Look, I think what we've seen tonight is exactly why perspective matters. You've got economic chess with China, partisan chaos at home, and military tension abroad. And through all of it, people are hungry for leadership that feels real again. Not scripted, not sanitized, just real. We can disagree without destroying each other, and we can demand accountability without losing our humanity. The danger isn't the fight. It's forgetting why we're fighting. If we lose sight of what makes this country worth defending, truth, freedom, and each other, then no trade deal or shutdown fix is gonna save us.
Amen to that. Well said, Rachel. All right, Daniel. Take us into the Matrix, man.
Here's what I'll say. Every crisis the media calls unexpected was planned by someone, somewhere. The trade deal, the shutdown, the Navy crashes, they're all data points in a bigger pattern. You connect the dots, you start to see who benefits every time America gets distracted. Power consolidates in silence, and they're counting on the rest of us being too busy fighting each other to notice. But shows like this, they mess up the plan, because every time we call it out, the illusion cracks a little more. Whether you believe in conspiracy or coincidence, the truth's still there, and it's loud enough for anyone brave enough to listen.
Man, Daniel just turned follow the money into a spiritual awakening. Skylar, you've been patient. You've taken a few hits tonight, but you always land your point. Bring it home.
Thanks, Artie. Look, I might not agree with half of what Brian or Daniel says, but I'll give credit where it's due. At least we're talking, we're debating, we're pushing each other to think. That's what's supposed to happen in a free country. My hope is that we remember that patriotism doesn't belong to one side. It belongs to anyone who actually gives a damn about this place. Whether it's fighting for workers, the planet, or fairness, it's all rooted in wanting America to live up to its promise. If we can start from that common ground, maybe we'll stop seeing each other as enemies and start seeing each other as neighbors again.
That right there. That's why I love this show. Because somewhere between Brian's fireworks, Rachel's reason, Daniel's data storm, and Skylar's idealism, you find the full picture of what it means to be American. We argue because we care. We debate because truth deserves defense. Tonight reminded me of something my dad used to say. You don't fix a country by hiding the cracks. You fix it by shining a light on them, and that's what we do here. We shine light. Sometimes it's blinding, sometimes it's brutal, but it's always honest. So wherever you're listening from, your truck, your kitchen, your camper, or your late-night shift, remember this. You're not crazy for asking questions. You're not extreme for loving your country. And you're definitely not alone in wanting it back. Stay bold. Stay curious. And as always, remember to speak truth stir thought. Tonight's episode of Data and Dissonance was brought to you by the Caleb Rourke thriller series, my personal book collection that started it all. If you haven't picked them up yet, start with the Covenant Protocol, where it all begins, followed by the Prophet Directive, and stay tuned for the next chapter, Black Echo Rising, coming soon. Each one dives deep into the world of power, corruption, and the hidden wars that shape our future. Stories built for patriots, thinkers, and anyone tired of being lied to. You can grab your copies now on Amazon, paperback, ebook, or Kindle Unlimited. Just search Caleb Rourke Thriller Series. And don't forget, the Data and Dissonance album Truth Bombs is now live on all major platforms. 23 minutes of pure political fire. No filters, no apologies. And for those of you asking, yes, the expanded edition is already in the works, with 3 unreleased tracks that didn't make the first cut. Go stream it now on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, or iHeartRadio. Crank it up, share it out, and keep the message moving. I'm Artie J. Roy III, reminding you that truth still matters, freedom still fights back, and the American spirit doesn't run on permission slips. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same crew, more caffeine, and probably more chaos. Until then, keep your head high, your coffee strong, and your mind unshackled.
Their own good, too woke to work, too lost to stand. Want handouts from a broken land, but we build, we fight, we live out loud while they sob into a TikTok cloud. Yeah, keep screaming at the sky while we keep the lights on.